Okay, I can see that it's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the City of Corona Planning and Housing Commission meeting. It is February 12th, 2018 at 6 o'clock. For record-keeping purposes, if you wish to make a statement regarding any item on the agenda, please complete the form located in the entrance or at the rear of the council chambers and deposit it with the Planning and Housing Commission Secretary. With that, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Rocinio, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Rocinio. First item number 3, as soon as that comes up. Okay. I would like to ask for approval for the meeting minutes for the Planning and Housing Commission meeting of January 22nd, 2018. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion that we approve the Housing and Commission meeting of January 22nd, 2018.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
The motion having been made and seconded, please vote as soon as it comes up. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you very much. Oral communications. Persons wishing to address the Planning and Housing Commission are requested to state their name for the record. This portion of the agenda is intended for public comment. State law prohibits the Planning and Housing Commission from discussing or taking action on items not listed in the agenda. The Planning and Housing Commission will appreciate your cooperation in keeping your comments brief. Please observe the 3-minute time limit for communications. Are there any cards or people requesting?
No.
None.
Mr. Chair.
Hearing none? None. Thank you. Item number 6, public hearing. Public hearing items. Public hearings are items that have been publicly advertised for review and consideration by the Planning and Housing Commission meeting. The public hearing is for V2017-0102, an application for a variance to reduce the minimum required rear yard setbacks of 10 feet to 6.48 feet for an existing single-family dwelling located at 404 South Merrill Street to enable a potential future lot split in the single-family designation of the Downtown Corona Revitalization Specific Plan, SP 98-01. The applicant is the City of Corona. Sandra Yang, Senior Planner, will present this item. Sandra?
Thank you, Commissioner. V2017-0102 is a request for a variance to reduce the rear yard setback for an existing single-family dwelling located at 404 South Merrill Street. The property is zoned SF, or single-family, and is within the Downtown Corona Revitalization Specific Plan. The person seeking this variance is the property owner, Mr. George Landry, who also currently resides on the property. His property is about 14,800 square feet in size, and the home currently occupies the eastern portion, which fronts Merrill Street. The western portion is currently undeveloped. What Mr. Landry wants to do is to be able to split the property into two, in which the existing home would be located on one property, one lot, and then the undeveloped portion would be located on a separate lot. This would enable Mr. Landry to sell off the undeveloped portion, which could potentially be developed for a single-family residence in the future, and that is a permitted use under the site's current zoning. The subject property is actually comprised of 2 lots. As shown here, both lots are oriented in an east-west direction with the home constructed on top of that adjoining property line. In order to achieve what the owner wants to do, the owner is currently processing an application with the city called a lot line adjustment, and the purpose of that application is to adjust that adjoining lot line to go from east to west to north to south. That reconfiguration would also reconfigure both lots to be oriented in a north-south direction as well. This is what the two lots would look like once they are reconfigured through the lot line adjustment process. Both lots would front 4th Street instead of Merrill. There would be a parcel A and a parcel B. Parcel A would contain the existing home, since Mr. Landry intends to keep that home on that property, and parcel B would contain the undeveloped portion, which could potentially be sold off. Each new lot would be 7,405 square feet, which would meet the minimum lot size requirement under the site's zoning. And that minimum lot size requirement is 7,200 square feet. The lots would also meet the minimum lot width and depth requirements under the site's zoning. The variance that the owner is seeking relates to the 6.48-foot setback dimension that's highlighted at the bottom of parcel A. This setback is currently the distance measured from the owner's garage to that south property line. The way it is now with the home fronting Merrill, this setback currently and sufficiently serves as the side yard setback. But with the lots being reconfigured in a north-south direction, the front yard would change from Merrill to 4th Street. This change in front yard is based on the way our CMC defines lot frontage. When you have a lot that abuts two streets, the shorter of the two lot lines abutting a street would be considered the lot frontage. So in the case of parcel A, the lot line abutting 4th Street is shorter than the one abutting Merrill, and therefore parcel A's front yard would now be on 4th rather than Merrill. Merrill would now become the side yard, and that south property line where that 6.48-foot setback is would become the rear yard setback. Under the site's zoning, the minimum rear yard setback requirement must be 10 feet. The existing setback in that area is 6.48 feet. Therefore, the owner is requesting a variance to reduce that setback from 10 feet to 6.48 feet. This would enable the owner to complete the lot line adjustment process in order to create the two lots on the site as shown here. Per the CMC, in order for the Planning Commission to approve a variance, special circumstances must exist that deprives their subject property of privileges enjoyed by other properties in the vicinity and in the same zoning classification. The owner's property is located in a primarily residential area where the lots are about 7,500 square feet and developed with single-family homes. The owner is trying to create two lots similar to what's existing in the vicinity, but his property is at a disadvantage because of the existing home that is currently built on the site. In order to accommodate a single-family residence on the unoccupied portion of the property, a reconfiguration of the lots would be necessary, but that can only be done if consideration is given for the variance for the rear yard setback on the occupied portion of that property. Based on this justification, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission approve variance 2017-0102. And that concludes my presentation for tonight. I am available for questions. I have the owner, Mr. George Landry, present. His consulting engineer is also here for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for Ms. Yang? Okay, Mr. Rocinio.
And a question with them, as far as the conditions of doing that lot split or lot adjustment, is there following the historical societies, being the circle area? I mean, how does that affect the future of building a new house? Do they have to follow all the area designs?
This property is not located in a historic area, so it's not a landmark either, so there was no follow-up with the Historic Society.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I have a question. Are there any subsequent changes to the existing home planned as a result of the modification of the front yard and whatnot? In other words, additions to the house or changes to the facade What is now the side facade, I guess, to the front?
There will be no changes to the home, inside or outside.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
If I can provide as clarification to Commissioner Rosinio's comment, the specific plan, however, does require us, if a new residential structure is to come in, that it does do architectural style that is similar with the surroundings. So we will take a look at that through the plan check process. That is ministerial, but we've done that in other areas within the downtown plan. So, whatever the like nature is, we will make sure that gets implemented. We certainly don't want to have an infill piece of property that doesn't match the existing neighborhood. So whether it be some traditional type or craftsman, we will be looking at that. So I do want to clarify that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I will now open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Sam Akbarpur with SIG Engineers. I'm the engineer for this lot line adjustment. Mr. Landry is almost going to be 90 years in just a few months, and he just wants to split this lot to have his son and build a house next to him to taking care of him. And as far as really orientation of the house, the front door is facing 4th Street, so technically, he's been using the 4th Street as a frontage. And it won't be no remodeling, no other changes or improvement to the existing house. I'm here to answer any question you may have.
Are there any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing none,
Thank you.
can I go ahead and close the public portion? Okay, we'll close the public portion. Bring this back to commission for a vote. Do we have a motion for V2017-0102?
I'll move once we get it.
We're going to take a verbal vote on this one.
Okay. Show of hands, all those in favor? Sorry. Motion?
I'll move the motion.
I'll second it.
Second. Having a motion been made and being seconded, we'll vote on it. Please raise your hands if you are in favor. Anyone opposed? The motion is approved. Let's see. Written communications. Do we have any written communications? I'm sorry?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And I'm still not seeing at the bottom which item we're on, but I'm assuming we're on to number 8? Yes. Okay. Administrative reports, Ms. Coletta.
Yes, I just have 2 items for you this evening. One, we do have a study session tomorrow here in the council chambers. It's at 3:30. We're actually having 2 study sessions this month. So tomorrow we will be discussing the adult use cannabis marijuana issue. We have 3 presenters tomorrow as well as staff's presentation. So if you are able to view it or are interested in watching, that will be available tomorrow.
Thank you.
And then on another note, we do have a new hire here at the Community Development Department. We have a new associate planner, and he is here this evening. His name is Harold Luna. So you will be seeing his face around here a little bit more often as we have new projects come on board. So that's it.
Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you.
Okay. Planning and Housing Commissioners reports. Do we have any? Mr. Arsenio, would you like to report on the Infrastructure Committee?
The last infrastructure meeting that we had, they had pulled the agenda item on there, so there's nothing to report.
Thank you. And with that, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. The next meeting of the Planning and Housing Commission is scheduled for February 26th, 2018 at 6 o'clock. We are adjourned.